Happy Wednesday. Welcome to a special Brain Scratch Searchlight update. Honestly, I wish these types of updates we would get to record way more often, but that doesn't typically happen here on the channel. Thankfully, for today's update on the Aaliyah Ramirez case, there's good news. There's really good news. She's alive, she's safe, but there's a lot of big questions around this as well. So let's take a look at all the current information I could find on it and a little bit of the past, just to give anyone an update that might have missed the original episode. Aaliyah Ramirez went missing from Syracuse, Indiana on April 27th, 2021. You might remember in the previous episode, there was footage of her. A neighbor had a doorbell cam that caught her. It looked like she was just going off to school, just like any normal morning. Of course, she would disappear after that. The investigation kind of gave out some theories about where she could be. Something was going on with her custody, who was going to be responsible for her at that point. We heard that a judge also said something about her not being able to see a boyfriend that lived close to her grandmother. Let's go ahead and start with an article at ABC 57 just to get a little bit of the information from back around the disappearance. This is from May 3rd, 2021. 14-year-old Aaliyah Ramirez was last seen Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. leaving to catch her bus, but never made it to school and never returned home. This is a quote from her aunt, Alyssa Sands. She's just not one to have any issues and whatnot like this before. I'm not sure if she ran or if somebody grabbed her. There's been an issue with custody and stuff like that, and I think it got the best of her, and I think this is what happens when people don't listen to kids. I just want to know when she went missing, what happened before she went missing, what led up to it. I feel like more people helping, the better, she said back at that time. Let's go ahead and continue over at WPTA21.com. with some of the recent news that happened before her discovery. We know she has been found, but before that, just a few weeks ago, national television show to spotlight missing Indiana teen Aaliyah Ramirez. The case will be included on an episode of In Pursuit with John Walsh, set to air August 18th at 10 p.m. on Investigation Discovery. It's the latest effort to put the matter before a national audience. Pretty big support around this case in terms of exposure raised to it by the media. I just want my daughter back home, said her father, Anthony Ramirez. I want her found safe. Now, some of you out there might be thinking, pretty interesting. John says she's been found, and now we're hearing about her being featured on In Pursuit with John Walsh. Wonder if that had anything to do with it. But over here at WANE.com, no new tips following Discovery Plus feature on missing Syracuse teen. The Discovery Plus show featured the 30-second segment on Ramirez. Since the segment aired, Syracuse Police Chief Jim Lane told WANE 15 that no new tips have come in from the show. However, Chief Lane says police are still actively investigating Ramirez's disappearance. Authorities suspect she could be in Marion, Indiana, or Palm Beach County, Florida, where she has family and is believed to be in danger. Now, one of the first things to break in this case, to let the public know what was going on, was actually on her mother's Facebook page. And we can see here, we've got a big graphic from August 27th, found safe, Aaliyah Ramirez, we never stopped looking. But it's actually a post here from August 27th at 9:17 p.m. Aaliyah is safe. Anthony, Casey, and Alex are on their way to get her per prosecutor orders. Liz Sands and Alyssa Sands were both arrested by U.S. Marshals this evening. Boyfriend is also involved. They have been keeping Aaliyah in a hotel this entire time and concealing her identity with a blonde wig, glasses, and face mask. Now, Ashley is now named Ashley Aspie, but if you would see the address bar on this webpage, you'd see it looks like her original Facebook account was ashley.sands. So it sounds like family members of her mother were responsible for her disappearance, and now they might be being held responsible for it as well. Also, once again, this boyfriend comes into play, but let's go ahead and continue with the articles here at WOWO.com. Silver alert for Aaliyah Ramirez, canceled. Girl found safe in Florida. And I just wanted to take a moment to highlight, based on the coverage we had done previously, This was a theory that was out there. It was raised publicly, and it still took 4 months. It still took 4 months for this to come together. So I know there's people out there that are always worried about, privacy rights and things of that nature. Knowing this was a possible theory, knowing she might gravitate back towards her grandmother's house so she could spend time with this boyfriend, knowing that, this still took 4 months. So it doesn't seem to me that any type of strict surveillance might have been put on the grandmother or on the family members in that area. As a matter of fact, we're going to hear some details about how this actually winds up coming together. But in terms of, there's kind of two sides of that coin. Yeah, it took 4 months, despite the fact that the leads were out there. The flip side is the information was out there and it was accurate. So the investigation got off to a really strong start and shared the right information with the media. It just took some time for this to all kind of come together. And this article is noting Indiana State Police believed she might have been headed to Florida, and that is indeed where she was located. Channel 27 News and Entertainment, they start posting the news. I mean, it looks like it's within minutes of when her mother is posting on Facebook about this. Breaking news, it's been reported that Aaliyah's mother says Aaliyah Ramirez is safe. Also reported that Liz and Alyssa Sands were arrested. By the way, there's a reason why I included that first article. Alyssa Sands actually speaking in the press back during the original disappearance, putting quotes out into the media, basically saying that she doesn't know. She doesn't know where she is, and she doesn't know if she ran away or if somebody grabbed her. Seems pretty clear that if she really didn't know it at this time, she does get to know it at some point in the future. And now, she's being held for basically helping to keep this child hidden from her proper guardian and parent. Over at WFLX.com, missing Indiana teen found safe in South Florida. 2 women arrested. 2 Boynton Beach women are under arrest. Alyssa Sands, 25, and Elizabeth Sands, 47, were taken into custody late Friday by the U.S. Marshals and are facing out-of-state fugitive charges. They are inmates in the Palm Beach County Jail. Okay. So just to make sure we're understanding all these lines, Liz Sands is Aaliyah's maternal grandmother and Ashley Aspey's mother. So this is the mother of the missing child. It's her mother that is responsible for helping to hide her, and her sister, Alyssa Sands. Palm Beach County confirmed Ramirez had been located safe and alive. However, no further details have been released regarding the case or the events leading up to her being found. Now, that was on August 28th. It's been a few days since then, and some details have come out. We now have a better understanding of what's going on here. Over at CBS12.com, here's an image of both of the people now under arrest. Documents from the Kosciuszko County Prosecuting Attorney's Office say a break in the case happened in July when detectives located the teenager on surveillance video in 2 separate Florida malls. I really would love to understand more of what was going on. Like, were they zoning in on a particular area? It's interesting to me. What type of effort would that be? Hey, we're going to go through footage for local shopping malls where she might be seen. Like, that sounds like a massive effort. And then to be able to actually identify her in that, if she is disguised. Let's go ahead and get some more details. She was wearing a disguise. She was caught on camera with her grandmother, Elizabeth Sands, and her boyfriend, who is referred to as BB in court documents. I believe this is talking about Aaliyah's boyfriend, I believe, but I'm not 100%. Just because of the previous stuff that we've covered on the case. I guess the way this is phrased, there's a slight chance they could be referring to the grandmother's boyfriend. I wish they would have kind of cleaned that up a little bit. But based on what I heard previously, I would think that it's the teenage boyfriend. Aaliyah Ramirez disappeared after a judge granted full custody to the teen's father. During the hearings, the judge also prohibited Ramirez from talking to her boyfriend. According to the Syracuse Police Department, U.S. Marshals saw Aaliyah get into a car in the area of Lake Worth Beach on Friday. What happens from there? Let's learn over at WSBT.com. Sheriff deputies stopped the car and recovered Aaliyah. She was with her grandmother, Elizabeth Sands, and her aunt, Alyssa Sands. Both of them were booked into the Palm Beach County Jail and will be extradited to Kosciuszko County to face charges of interference with custody and false informing. I wouldn't be surprised that Alyssa knew about this the whole time. Obviously, if she's lying to the press, she might have lied to investigators as well. Is there some type of obstruction of justice charge or other additional charges that might come around this? I think it's pretty early to know, but these are the two charges they're talking about right now. The interference with custody is a level 6 felony, and false informing is a class A misdemeanor. The extradition process is already underway, but could take several weeks. So basically, they've got to get them out of Florida, get them back to Indiana where they can face these charges. Now, we are talking about a 14-year-old being taken by other adults. Some of you out there might be wondering, where's the kidnapping charge? And I think we're going to see additional charges come in here. We might see those 2 initial charges fall off. This is very, very early in the process. But specifically, where is the kidnapping charge? Let's learn over at fortwaynesnbc.com. The Syracuse police chief says Aaliyah appears to have willingly left her Syracuse home, which is why kidnapping charges have not been filed. It's going to be interesting to see what happens when some attorneys get a hold of this case. I've heard all kinds of different things from the neighbors, from my family members, from people in town, and the stories are vast and varied as far as first she was a runaway, then that family came and picked her up. So all kinds of stories about why she left and things like that, a neighbor explained. That is interesting. That does throw a little bit of a different scenario here. If she left initially as a runaway, it could be that Alyssa wasn't lying because that interview was only from less than a week after her disappearance. Maybe she did initially run away, then contacted the family members, arranged some type of transportation, got out there, and then the situation changed. That's certainly a possibility. So if they find that to not be the case, there might be a chance that those kidnapping charges still come in. Aaliyah's father and uncle went to Florida to get her, but all 3 of them are said to still be in the Sunshine State after a judge requested a hearing with the Florida Department of Child Services about the teen because she's considered a runaway. So sounds like a few more hoops before Aaliyah's father gets to truly bring her home. I don't know, guys. There's another thing that's just kind of nagging at me about this. It seems like the custody was Aaliyah's father getting full custody. We have her being found ultimately with members of the mother's family. I don't know if there's any chance that the mother knew about this or not. I don't know how to answer that. The information that we have is way too thin to answer that. We're not seeing any charges in that direction. The messaging that she's putting out on her Facebook, fairly clear that she seems excited that Aaliyah has been found. I don't know that I'd say she's excited, but she also broke the news about the family members being arrested, that the boyfriend is involved as well. I just want to put it out there. I know that it's going to be a possibility you guys are going to talk about, and I can't find any information to push that needle one way or the other. I think there's going to be a lot more investigation that goes on around these charges. That's why I do think the charges might change. There might be additional charges for additional people that were part of this as well. This is something that I've seen a few cases of in the past, and typically with the adults, it's not taken very lightly with those adults. These aren't, she's not 18, she's 14. Custody for her belongs to somebody, belongs to her father, and someone didn't respect that, tried to take her out of that situation. On top of that, if she was spending time with her boyfriend, which once again, I'm kind of confused on the wording of this here, but I believe that's who they're talking about. She was told by a judge, you're not to see this boy anymore. I don't know why. I don't know if there's other risk factors that were part of this. It seems kind of strange to me that a judge would say that in a court even to a teen. Another factor we talked about in the original episode is I seem to recall at around the age 14 that children sometimes get some form of say in terms of their custody arrangements. Not that they could really direct it, but their considerations are usually heard and taken by the court. I know that she had given a letter specifically to the judge. I don't know. There's a lot of things about this case that, despite the fact that she's been found, feel extremely unsettled. And I'm just curious to see where it goes from here in terms of what happens with these family members and what other information may come out. Be prepared, because we are talking about a teen, that the information around this could completely stop all of a sudden. Obviously, Aaliyah has rights. She's got a life that she has to put together after this. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure at some point in the future, I will actually delist the videos about her as well, because she deserves to be able to go and apply for jobs and not have people find stuff on YouTube about that time that she ran away when she was 14. But I'm curious how much information we're going to get in terms of what's going on with her. I think we will get some updates in the future about these charges related to the family members. But let's go ahead and talk about it in the comments down below. And I'm going to ask, we still remain respectful to this. This is a 14-year-old that was possibly enabled to do some things that she shouldn't have done by other adults in her life. Do you remember being a child like that and having an adult enable you in that way? Have you ever had a situation like that? It's very confusing, because you have this understanding and this kind of book of rules and this way of being within your family. And then all of a sudden you might hear from someone that's an adult who especially, I don't know if we're putting this message out as much now, but when I was a kid, it was like, hey, respect your elders, respect your elders. Well, I'm finding these elders that are now saying there's a different way to live. And she found them within her own family. We're not talking about, she's 14, she started dating a 23-year-old guy, and he's saying, oh, you don't have to listen to your parents and I'll put you up. These are people that were probably somewhat close to her in her life and that she was raised to respect in some manner, that are now enabling her to make a decision like run away from her father. It's got to be extremely confusing. I think it's really not fair to her. I don't see how this is fair to her in any regard. But let's talk about it in the comments down below, and please remain respectful. This is a tough topic. And like I said, I think at some point these videos will come down, but we want to talk about it and just make sure that if you're having considerations like this in your family, maybe you're hearing Aaliyah's story, maybe it's making you think about having some discussions with your family members, your children, trying to avoid a situation like this. I can't imagine those 4 months were very easy on anyone in the family going through all this, even the people that were responsible for hiding her. Can you imagine trying to keep a secret like that? Like, what does that do to you? What does that do to your stress level? What can that do to your health? It's not a good situation on any front. What is good is she's been found. She is safe. There's another chance here, because there's a lot of stories on this channel where these young people don't get another chance. But thankfully, Aaliyah has that. Take care, guys. I'll see you back on Friday with a brand new mystery here on the Lord and Arch channel.